"Don't wait up. I'm going to his place to talk things out," she said. So I didn't wait. I moved on. A week later, she showed up in tears because he blocked her. I didn't even open the door. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. It's funny how a 4-year relationship doesn't end with a bang. It ends with 1,000 tiny paper cuts. And then one final, quiet snip. My name is Alex. I'm 30. I'm a systems analyst, which means I'm a planner. I like stability, I like logic, and I like fixing things that are broken. For 4 years, I was with Qley, who is 28. Our relationship was, for the first 3 years, the one thing in my life I didn't need to fix. It just worked. I'm the stable one. I paid the deposit on our apartment, and my salary covers about 70% of our rent and bills. I was happy to do it. When Qley decided to get her master's in communications, I was the one who worked late to cover the difference. I was the one who made her dinner every night while she studied, rubbed her shoulders when she was stressed about finals, and told her a million times that she was smart and capable and that she'd nail it. And she did. She graduated 6 months ago. That's when the paper cut started. Suddenly, the woman I loved was gone, replaced by someone who needed more. More validation, more excitement. She was finding herself. And finding herself apparently meant she was too good for the life we had built. It started with her new spin class, a $200 a month studio that I, of course, ended up paying for. It was part of her new journey. And that's where she met Ben. Ben, God, even his name sounds fake. Ben is an entrepreneur. One of those guys who wears a blazer with designer jeans and talks about his portfolio, but doesn't seem to have an actual job. He's 35, divorced, and has the kind of predatory charm that insecure people mistake for confidence. Qley, flush with her new degree and a sudden allergy to our boring life, was prime grade meat. She started mentioning him casually. Ben says there's this great new rooftop bar. Ben thinks I should be looking at marketing, not a boring HR job. I'm not a jealous guy. I'm a logical guy. And the logic wasn't adding up. I brought it up 2 weeks ago, and the conversation was the first time I realized the woman I loved was already gone. It was almost 11 p.m. on a Wednesday. I was reading in bed. She was in the bathroom, and her phone, on the nightstand, lit up. A text from Ben. "You should have worn the red ones." My blood went cold. I didn't touch the phone. I just waited. When she came out of the bathroom, toweling her hair, I kept my voice perfectly level. "Qley, who is Ben?" She froze. "What? His name just popped up on your phone. Why is he texting you at 11 p.m.? She scoffed and snatched the phone off the nightstand, a move that was more violent than it needed to be. "Oh my God, Alex again with this. He's just a friend. A friend who's texting you about what you're wearing." She threw the towel on the floor. "You're so controlling. You know that. It's not my fault you're insecure. He's just fun. You should try it sometime. God, I can't even have friends. You just want to keep me in this boring little box." "It's not about having friends," I said, and my voice was colder than I intended. "It's about respect. That is not a friend text." "Whatever," she sneered, turning her back on me to put on her pajamas. "You're just trying to clip my wings because you're bored with your own life. Just leave it alone." I looked at her back. She was right about one thing. I should have left it alone. But I didn't. I did what I always do. I tried to fix it. Which brings me to last night. It was a Tuesday. I left work early. I decided I was going to fight for us. I was going to break through this new Qley and find the woman I loved. I went to the good grocery store, the one with the fresh catch seafood counter, and bought 2 beautiful cuts of wild salmon. I got asparagus, lemons, and a bottle of that Sancerre she loves. I was going to make her favorite meal. We were going to sit down, eat like adults, and I was going to tell her that this Ben guy was poison and that I missed her. I was in the kitchen. The salmon was in the pan, skin side down, getting perfectly crispy. The asparagus was roasting. The wine was chilled. I was just setting the table when I heard the front door open and click shut. "Hey," I called out. "I'm in the kitchen, making something good." Silence. Usually, she'd at least drop her bag, kick off her shoes, and sigh about her day. The silence was heavy. "Qley," I turned the heat down on the stove and wiped my hands on a towel. I walked out of the kitchen and into the living room. Her bag and keys were on the floor, but she wasn't there. I walked to our bedroom. The door was open. She was there, but her back was to me. She hadn't changed into her sweats or pajamas. She was changing out of her work clothes and into a pair of dark jeans and a black, silky top I hadn't seen before. She was at her vanity, putting on makeup, eyeliner, mascara, the whole routine. The air was thick with the smell of her going out perfume. My stomach dropped into my shoes. "Hey," I said. My voice sounded small. I'm making that salmon you like. I thought we could talk." She didn't even look at me. She just focused on her mascara wand, her hand perfectly steady. "Oh, can't. I'm going out." "Going out," I said, trying to keep my voice from shaking. "It's 8:30 on a Tuesday." "With who?" "Sarah." Qley finally capped her mascara and let out a long, annoyed sigh. It was the sigh of someone being deeply inconvenienced by a barking dog or a crying baby. She turned in her chair, not to look at me, but to grab her purse from the bed. "No," she said, her voice flat. "I'm going to Ben's place." I just stood there. The only sound in the apartment was the faint sizzle of the salmon I'd left in the pan. "To his place," I repeated. "Now." "Yeah," she said. She was checking her reflection in her compact mirror, pressing her lips together. "Look, he's having a really hard time with his ex. He needs someone to talk to. We're just going to talk things out." She did it. She actually used air quotes. A tiny, smug, utterly dismissive smile played on her lips as she said it. She was mocking me. All the blood in my body turned to ice. I looked at this woman, this stranger in my bedroom, smelling like perfume, dressed to go to another man's apartment, and I felt the last bit of us snap. "You're going to his apartment," I said, my voice now as flat and dead as hers. "At night, to talk things out. And I'm just supposed to what? Eat this dinner alone. Just sit here and wait for you." She finally stood up. She grabbed her keys and her jacket. She walked right past me, close enough that I could smell the perfume, but she never made eye contact. She stopped at the bedroom door, just for a second, and looked back at me over her shoulder. Her eyes were cold. There was no love there, no guilt, no sadness, just annoyance. "Don't wait up," she said. And then she was gone. I heard the front door open. I heard it click shut. I stood there for a full minute, just listening to the silence. Then, I heard the salmon sizzling in the kitchen. It was starting to burn. I stood in the doorway of the bedroom. The silence in the apartment was absolute, a vacuum. Then, from the kitchen, the sizzle of the salmon skin in the hot pan turned into an angry, smoking crackle. It was burning. Something in my head, a wire that had been sparking and straining for 6 months, finally snapped. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even sadness. It was clarity. It was the cold, clean logic of a systems analyst looking at a line of code that is irrevocably broken. You don't try to patch it. You don't try to debug it. You delete the entire module and start fresh. Qley hadn't just left. She had smirked. She had used air quotes. She wanted me to feel small. She wanted me to sit there, in the home I'm mostly paid for, staring at the dinner I cooked, while she went to get validation from another man. And in that moment, I realized, "Don't wait up" wasn't just a cruel line. It was an instruction. It was a release. It was the most honest thing she'd said to me in months. So I didn't. I walked calmly into the kitchen. I turned off the stove. The smell of burnt fish filled the air. I picked up the hot pan with an oven mitt, walked to the trash can, and scraped both pieces of ruined salmon into the bin. I took the 2 plates I'd set on the table, scraped the asparagus in after them, and then poured the $40 bottle of Sancerre straight down the drain. I went to my office. I opened my laptop. First, I booked a long-stay Airbnb in a nicer part of the city near my office. Check-in was for tomorrow, but the contactless key was available immediately. Second, I opened our shared apartment finances spreadsheet. I created a new tab. I titled it Final Tally. I entered my half of the security deposit. I entered the cost of the sofa and the bed, which I had bought. I entered her outstanding 70% of the utilities for the last 3 months, which she'd forgotten to pay. I sent her a share notification for the spreadsheet with 1 word in the message, FYI. Third, I pulled my largest suitcase from the closet. I didn't pack everything. I packed my work clothes, my toiletries, my passport, my hard drives, and the framed photo of my late father. The essentials. My life. I left all her things. I left the furniture. I left the life she didn't want. I walked to the kitchen counter. I took my apartment key off my keyring. I placed it right in the center of the counter, where she'd have to see it when she eventually stumbled in, smelling of Ben. Then I walked out. I didn't slam the door. I just closed it quietly behind me. I didn't go to a hotel. I went to the 24-hour gym. I put in my earbuds, turned on a heavy metal playlist, and ran 6 miles on the treadmill until my legs felt like jelly. I took a long, hot shower. I felt clean. I went to a 24-hour diner, had a huge breakfast, and went straight to work. I didn't check my phone. After work the next day, I hired a man with a van. I met him at the apartment. I had my new key for my Airbnb. I knew Qley would be at her spin class. In 45 minutes, we had moved my computer, my remaining clothes, my books, and my desk. I left the apartment spotless, except for all the things she owned. I drove to my new place. It was clean, modern, and quiet. So quiet. That's when I finally looked at my phone. I didn't block her number. Not yet. I just muted her thread. I wanted to watch. I wanted the data. I wanted confirmation that the module I deleted was, in fact, corrupted beyond repair. The confirmation was immediate. My first week was light. That's the only word for it. I woke up. I made coffee. I went to work. I'd been working on a complex optimization project, and with my head finally clear of all the domestic drama, I solved the central problem in 2 days. My boss noticed. On Friday, he called me into his office and gave me the promotion and the 20% raise I'd been chasing for a year. I reconnected with old friends. I went to the gym every day. I slept through the entire night for the first time in months. I felt like I'd been holding my breath for a year and had finally exhaled. All the while, my muted phone was a ticker tape of her unraveling. I'd check it once a day, like reading a case file. Day 1, Wednesday morning, where are you? Seriously, where's your suitcase? This isn't funny. WTF, Alex, your work stuff is gone. What did you do? Day 1, Wednesday night, you can't just leave. This is so immature. You're acting like a child. Are you at your brother's? Call me. We need to talk about this. Day 2, Thursday, are you really doing this? Over one night. I told you we were just talking. You're unbelievable. You know, this is exactly why I need a break from you. You're so suffocating. Fine. Pout. See if I care. Day 3, Friday, silence. This was my favorite part. The silence. I knew exactly what it meant. She was with Ben. She was on her upgrade. She was probably laughing with him about her psycho ex, me, who had a tantrum and ran away. She was in her new, exciting life. She'd won. Day 4, Saturday. Okay, your little tantrum is over. When are you coming home so we can talk? I'm not going to beg you, Alex. Day 5, Sunday, I saw the spreadsheet. What the hell is that? Are you trying to bill me? You're AF asterisk king child. Ben says you're acting like a controlling psycho, and you're lucky I put up with you for this long. He's right. You're just proving his point. I actually laughed at that one. Laughed out loud in my clean, quiet kitchen. The monster was trying to use another monster to scare me. Day 6, Monday, the tone shift. Alex, please, can you just call me? He hasn't texted me back. He was supposed to see me today, and he just didn't show up. Day 7, Tuesday. 1 week to the minute since she'd walked out, he blocked me. He blocked my number. I went to his office, and it's AF asterisk king mail drop. I think he's married. Oh my God, Alex, I made a terrible mistake. I was stressed, I was confused. He manipulated me. He twisted everything. Please, I need you. I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. I'm coming over. I'm at Sarah's. She knows where your new building is. I read that last text. My blood didn't run cold. I didn't feel pity. I felt nothing. She wasn't texting me because she missed me. She was texting me because her upgrade failed. The safety net she'd smugly cut, thinking she could fly, was the only thing she had left. And she was on her way. The text said she was on her way. I had about 30 minutes, max. I went to my new, clean fridge and pulled out a bottle of water. I sat on my new, comfortable sofa and looked out the window at the city lights. I felt nothing. No anxiety. No dread. Just finality. My phone rang. It wasn't her. It was her best friend, Sarah. Sarah, who had been there the night Qley met Ben and told her to go for it. I hadn't blocked her number yet. I decided to answer. I was a planner, after all. I needed all the data. Alex, she said, her voice high and breathless. This is he. Alex, thank God. Qley is a wreck. You need to go to her. She's at my place. She's having a full-on breakdown. She can't even breathe. I took a sip of water. I waited. Well, she prompted. That sounds difficult for her, I said, my voice as level as if I were discussing a weather report. There was a sputter on the other end of the line. That's it. That sounds difficult. Alex, she is crying. She's been sobbing for 24 hours. That guy Ben was a total pig. He used her. And you abandoned her when she needed you. The accusation was so absurd, so perfectly twisted, that I almost smiled. Abandoned her? I replied, setting my water bottle down. Let's be clear, Sarah. Qley, an adult, dressed up, put on perfume, and smirked at me while she left our home to go to another man's apartment. She told me, and I quote, "Don't wait up." So I didn't. I took her at her word. What she did after that, and what he did to her, is not my concern. Oh my God, you're unbelievable. Sarah shrieked. You're really going to throw away 4 years because she got confused? She chose you. She's realizing that now. You're supposed to be the good guy, the stable one. Your job is to be there. You can't just check out when she makes one mistake. This one word. Mistake. Sarah, I said, and my voice was so cold it surprised even me. A mistake is spilling coffee on the carpet. A mistake is forgetting to take out the trash. What Qley did was a decision. A long series of them. She made her choice, and I made mine. I have a meeting in the morning. Don't call this number again. I hung up before she could reply. I looked at my phone. The data was all there. The case was closed. 10 minutes later, the banging started. It wasn't a knock. A knock is a request. This was a banging. Frantic, open-palmed, desperate. It was the sound of someone who had lost all control. I set my phone down. I walked calmly across my new living room floor. I didn't go to the door. I went to the peephole. I looked through, and there she was. It was like looking at a different person. The smug, confident woman in the silky top was gone. In her place was a wreck. Her hair was matted and wet, plastered to her face. Her eyes were red and swollen, and black mascara ran down her cheeks in rivers. She was wearing a wrinkled sweatshirt that I vaguely recognized as mine, one she must have stolen from the apartment. She looked pathetic. Alex, she wailed, her voice muffled by the thick wood. Alex, I know you're in there. Please. Sarah said you lived here. Please, please open the door. I just watched, my eye to the lens. I felt nothing. It was like watching a movie about a stranger. I remembered her, a week ago, her back to me, dabbing on perfume. I remembered her smug, dismissive air quotes. We're just going to talk things out. He blocked me, she sobbed, sliding down the door until she was a heap on my doormat. He used me and he blocked me. Everything he said was a lie. He told me I was special. He said I was wasted on you. She took a ragged, shuddering breath. I was so stupid, Alex. I'm so sorry, she cried. Please, I have nowhere else to go. I miss you. I love you. It was always you. I was just scared. I was scared of how stable we were. Please, I'll do anything. I looked at this woman, this heap of self-pity, and I saw the truth. She didn't love me. She just loved the me that paid for her life. She loved the me that cooked her salmon. She loved the me that she could disrespect without consequence. Her "I love you" was just a panic button, slapped in desperation because her upgrade had failed. I watched her for one more second. Then, I calmly turned around. I walked back to my sofa. I picked up my phone. I went to my podcast app, put my earbuds in, and unpaused the episode I'd been listening to about database optimization. The sound of my podcast completely drowned out her sobs. And then, the sobs changed. The second she realized her key, the crying, the apologies, the "I love you" didn't work, the real Qley came out. Whomp, whomp, whomp. She was kicking the door. You bastard, she shrieked, her voice now a raw, animalistic snarl. You're just going to ignore me. After everything I did for you. You're a f***ing coward. You're a monster. Asterisk, the noise was unpleasant. But it was just noise. It was on the other side of a locked door. You're no better than he is, she screamed, her voice cracking. I hate you. The kicking and screaming continued for another 5 minutes. I just sat there, listening to my podcast, sipping my water. Eventually, the kicks turned back into sobs, and the sobs faded into muffled whimpers, And then, silence. I waited a full minute. I got up, looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. My phone lit up. One last text message from her. I hate you. I hope you're alone forever. I looked at the words. I thought about the promotion I'd just gotten. I thought about the call I'd had with my friend earlier, making plans for the weekend. I thought about how good it felt to be in this clean, quiet apartment, where no one was gaslighting me or making me feel small. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I was just free. I held my thumb down on her name. A menu popped up. I tapped the block button. The thread disappeared. I finished my water and went to bed. I had a big meeting in the morning. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.